All right, let me ask you something. Have you ever made a decision you instantly regretted? Like buying something you didn't need or saying yes to a favor you absolutely didn't want to do? Yeah, we've all been there. But here's the mind-blowing part. What if I told you your brain is actually wired to make those decisions on purpose? Yep, you heard that right. According to the science of decision-making, we're a lot more irrational than we realize. And that's exactly what Dan Ariely's book, Predictably Irrational, is all about. Trust me, you'll laugh, you'll learn, and you might just walk away with a few new tricks to make better choices. Let's dive in. Comparing everything. We do it all the time. We compare everything. This fancy coffee cup feels way better than this basic one, right? But hold on a second. This cup has no special qualities at all. Yet somehow it feels more valuable because we compared it to something better. Our brains love comparing, and that's how we get tricked into making decisions we wouldn't otherwise make. Here's a little secret. The first price you hear is going to mess with you. You walk into a store, and the first item you see is crazy expensive. But that second item, suddenly, it looks like a bargain. Your brain is comparing, and you don't even realize it. This is called the anchoring effect, and it's your brain's way of tricking you into thinking you're getting a good deal. So next time you see an insanely overpriced item first, just remember, your brain is trying to get you to spend more than you planned. Sneaky, huh? The power of free. Free! It's like the magic word. You hear it, and suddenly your brain turns into a wild animal. Ever grab something because it was free even though you didn't need it? A free pen at a conference, a free trial that you never used. Here's the thing. When we hear free, all our rational thinking goes out the window. Dan Ariely calls this the free effect, and it's one of the sneakiest tricks your brain plays on you. Let's face it, how many times have you signed up for a free trial only to forget about it and get charged after 30 days? Yup, your brain loves a freebie so much it'll ignore the consequences. Like that subscription you totally forgot about. Free does not mean free, people. Now, let's talk about something we all do, overvaluing what we own. Think about that old pair of shoes you can't throw out. Why is it so hard to part with them? It's because you've already paid for them mentally. You feel like letting go would be a loss. And guess what? You're not alone. Ariely calls this the endowment effect. We simply overvalue what we own, and that's why it's tough to sell things, even if they're taking up space in your closet. You think they're worth more because they're yours. But, spoiler alert, they're probably not. Expectations shape experiences. Ever sat down for a meal, thinking it's going to be the best thing you've ever eaten, only to be disappointed? It's not the food, it's your expectations that set you up. If you think you're going to have an amazing experience, but it's just average, your brain says, that wasn't worth it. This is what Dan Ariely calls the expectation effect. Your brain shapes how you experience everything based on what you expect. So maybe you're not really disappointed by the meal. You're just disappointed because you thought it was going to be 5-star. Social versus market norms. Let's talk about how your brain reacts to social versus market norms. If you ask your friend for a favor, it's social. They're doing it because you're friends. But the second you offer to pay them, it shifts to market norms. Suddenly, the vibe changes. Ever tried to pay a friend back for a small favor and they act all awkward? That's because once money enters the picture, it stops being social and turns into a transaction. It's weird, right? But our brains treat it totally differently. Okay, quick confession. How many of us have accidentally eaten the last cookie and then pretended we didn't? Just a little white lie, right? Here's the thing. Most people are not wildly dishonest, but we bend the truth a little more than we like to admit. It's called the small dishonesty effect, and it's because we don't feel too bad about telling tiny lies. But once the stakes get higher, it gets trickier. Meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Dr. Jekyll is the part of you that wants to stick to your long-term goals, like eating healthy, saving money, and going to the gym. Mr. Hyde is the part of you that grabs the donut right now and says, "Who needs long-term goals when there's sugar?" We all have a little Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde battle going on inside us. But guess what? Mr. Hyde usually wins. Why? Because instant gratification is way too tempting. We love keeping our options open, even if it hurts us in the long run. How many tabs do you have open right now? 15? 20? You're probably avoiding making a decision because you're like, but what if something better comes along? That's called option paralysis, and it's why we end up stuck, overwhelmed, and unable to make a decision. But guess what? Sometimes closing a few tabs can actually help you make better choices. We all say we care about honesty, right? But what if I told you that when the chance comes up, most of us don't hesitate to cheat? Sounds shocking, but according to behavioral economist Dan Ariely, this is exactly what happens. In his work, he explores the deep mistrust people have in society and how we justify our own dishonest actions. But here's the twist. While Ariely acknowledges our flaws, he also sees something important in all this: the chance for growth. So what if our mistakes aren't just failures, but stepping stones to becoming better? So there you have it. The predictably irrational decisions we make daily, from comparing prices to grabbing that free cookie, are all hardwired into our brains. But now that you know these tricks, you can outsmart them. Will you? Hit like if you've ever fallen for any of these traps. We all have. Comment with your most irrational decision, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights into the wild, weird world of decision-making. Until next time, remember, you're not crazy, you're just predictably irrational. If you're curious about mastering the art of negotiation, check out the video linked in the description.